Today we're going to be teaching you how to play goalie. So first
My
off,
dick.
with positioning, okay, there's three arches that you want to play. So your first arch is kind of around the crease. If you want to show them, and
Right here.
and this arch will be for your dots and in. When you really push back, because if you're back here, if they're back here, obviously he can't cover all the goal. But if you come out a little bit, he takes up a lot more of the goal, and it's a lot harder to score. Which brings us into arch 2, which is in this middle space. It's about a block and a half to 2 blocks out, if you want to show them. Yep. And you never usually want to go wider than your net. And then arch 3, oh yeah, wait, for arch 2, it's between this dot and I think around this red dot, maybe a little more in, is where you kind of want to be for that. And then next is the outer arch, which is from post all the way up into like this middle part. You can play up as high as that, all the way back down to the arches. And this is for when you're in between this red dot and this line, because they can still score from here, but generally they won't shoot from there. Um, and yeah, so those are your three arches. For movement, when working back, you can slowly crouch up and down if you feel like they're going to score, or you can just um, flick from P2, because obviously you're slower in P2. Flick to P1, walk back, back to P2. Same with side-to-side movements. If you feel like you have enough time, go back to P1, P2. You can do the same thing with sliding as well. If you need to get somewhere farther over, say he passes from over here to around this general zone, what you would do is you would probably slide regularly like that. But if you feel like you need it, go into P1, slide P2 immediately. And generally, I would say a good rule of thumb, from this red dot to this red line, if they look like they could have a scoring chance, I would stay in P2. If they don't really look like they have a scoring chance, I would just hover your crouch button and be ready to click P2. From the red dot in, you should like most definitely be in P2 unless you're moving to track. And then once they're past the red dot, if you're not in P2 crouching, you're wrong. And the reason for new players why you want to crouch is if you go P1, be P1. If you 5-hole, it'll go through you. But if you're in P2, it won't. So let's see if I can get this twice in a row. See, he blocks it now. So that's why you want to stay in P2. A couple drills you can practice with some friends are a breakaway drill, where they take it from either this far side and they kind of dribble it up and really miss, and they kind of just try and shoot on you, 5-hole it, whatever, and then the center, and then down this far left side. And then the next drill, you need a couple people for this, but it would be a passing drill. So they would pass it from here to the center and they would shoot on you. And like Snobby Shores just did, you want to hug your post until you see that pass go through. What happens, not a lot of the time, but if a defender's here and they stop it and you just slid out of the way, you're here, you don't have enough time to slide back before this this attacker could hit it back into your net. So be wary of that. The third drill is it's more of a tracking drill, but essentially either from this red line to this dot, wherever, just have someone with a puck go vertical. So as you see Snobby Shores go, he's just going to try and track the puck as I go sideways, throw in some more moves. If you want to keep him on your toes or you're good enough, I'm not good enough for it, but if they can put a curve in there every once in a while, just so you can get used to the movement. And even if you're not sliding everywhere, if you are like jumping or picking up and walking kind of like that. Whatever works for you, just test a bunch of different stuff. Um, and then the next one is a stop drill. And this one, you kind of, basically, as I'm dribbling here, Snobby Shores would be trying to line it up. I would say stop. We would both stop, and then I would shoot the puck, and it would let him know, yes, I am tracking the puck correctly. It is, like, in the center of my chest, and I'm doing good. Because a lot of times, some goalies, they'll be off a little bit to, like, their right or their left. And if you're consistently off to the right or your left, you kind of have to recalibrate in your brain. Oh, hey, I need to move over. Um, and then one last tidbit about these dots. These dots, for me, until you get up to super high BHL level, these dots are a make or break. If they're facing this way, usually post side, like outside of post and that way, they're not usually going to be able to like put this puck and curve it far side. So basically, if you're holding your angle when they're facing this way, that's good because they can't usually put it that way. But same token, if they're facing that post and in, they most likely don't have an angle to try and take it out and curve it in, especially at the lower levels. So just be cognizant of where players' bodies are because that'll usually tell you where they're going. Like Fruits, for example, last season, this dot, every time he would curl in at this dot and he would kind of shape his body and the puck into it, and you could tell he was coming into the center. Whereas some other players, I've seen they'll have their body facing this way, directly at the corner, and you know instantly that they're probably not going to try and cut into the defender. They could, but they're usually not going to. Um, and the third thing, not third thing, but another thing is experience. Just keep playing, keep queuing, because that's honestly the biggest thing. Is once you know these basics, being able to apply them into the game and kind of tell, oh yeah, I can see, oh, this guy's facing that specific way. I can hug that side of the post. So being able to recognize these things with experience will be really good. And then that's all for the goalie training video. Get better.